Hey, good afternoon, Ian.
Hey, Coach Eddie, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Oh, good, good. Definitely not liking the cold today. It's been a little chilly in Central Texas. Got a little rain and whatnot. But bringing in the new year, we're going to talk about how to get 100% disability from the VA. That's our topic today. A few references you can check out on vaclaimsinsider.com. How to get 100% disability from the VA and why the Caluza Triangle matters for your VA disability claims. These are very important things. We're going to talk a little bit about what the Caluza Triangle is, what it encompasses, and how that affects your VA rating. Quick
Yeah.
introduction. We're going to talk a little bit about ourselves real quick, and then we'll get into the topic itself. I served. Well, we want to say happy Wednesday first to veterans. Thank you for spending some time with us today before we get started. We're on our topic. Kind of sound off in the comments who you served with, what branch you served with, and whatnot, and then we'll see those things first. And in about 5 after the hour, we'll start talking about a little bit about us. Where our journey was and all that stuff too. So. Glad to see everyone here. I'm gonna break the ice right away and what Daryl said this morning. Happy New Year! Happy 2024. Hopefully this is a good one for y'all, and hopefully this topic helps you and benefits you in your claim process as well.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are starting to tell us what they've served, what branch. I really appreciate everybody here, and hopefully, like Ian said, this topic is useful, and it gets everybody engaged to see where they actually belong. Because a lot of people don't even realize what they actually qualify for, right? So that's why this coaching process is here. Okay, so um, keep sending that in. Appreciate everybody. Bob Brown, Vietnam vet, welcome. Appreciate you.
Sean, great to see you here too. He's one of my vets. He got to 100% before the new year, so congrats to you, brother. But glad to see you here.
That's awesome. 100% Christmas gift. David, hey, I wanted to say hi to you, one of my vets. Yeah, we're still working on it, but we're doing well. We're doing well together. He knows the process as well as anybody, and I'm glad you're here, David. Appreciate you joining us.
Welcome, Britton, Emmanuel, Ron Thomas, Michael Eaton. Everyone, welcome home. Robert Washington, Paul Grimes. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, I just saw. Who was it? Here we go. Yeah, Paul. 100% permanent total because of VACI. It's awesome testament to the program and what it could do for individuals for sure.
Absolutely.
Letitia,
everyone here,
welcome. Desert Storm Vet.
Juan Carlos, welcome.
22 years, Miguel. That's awesome.
Wow.
That is a journey. Very cool. Okay, well, Ian,
we're at 5 at the after. Yep.
Yeah, go for it, man. You introduce yourself. Tell us where you served and what brought you here.
Sure. Army vet, 12 years, retired staff sergeant, got to 90% after being deployed to various areas. Spent some time in Germany for about 5 years. That was probably my longest station. I was also deployed to Iraq at LSA Anaconda, and actually waived my dwell time to redeploy with my new unit at Fort Carson with 361 Cav. Went on with them, was on a 12-month tour, and there's a reason why I'm here, and they're a bigger reason. We call them the Lead Eight. We lost 8 guys that day, unfortunately. So I paid tribute to them every day, each and every day that I do this process. But after I came back, I found out I was a little messed up and I needed some help. So started seeing medical, and eventually they deemed me as unfit for duty. And they gave me, well, the Army gave me 50%. The VA ended up giving me my permanent disability retirement at 90%. Fought that for 7 years, and finally my coach Travis and Telemedica helped me get to the 100% permanent total, which is where I sit. Coach Eddie and I live literally 2 minutes away right here in Central Texas in Cedar Park, and happy to see everyone here. Happy to see everyone joining us on this journey, but I'm going to kick it over to Eddie and give him his journey, his recent journey, because it's a good story.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Yeah, so came here about 3 years ago, actually 4 years ago as a client, and then didn't know what I should deserve, what I needed to do. I was just lost. But thankfully, because of this program, I understood what I deserved and was able to get just recently, about 2-3 weeks ago, my 100%. So it can be a journey. It definitely can. Not only for the vets that we help, but also the vets that work here, right? So stay the course. I started my Army career in 2000, enlisted, did a couple of years for the enlistment, and then went to the Guard and got to fly some helicopters, and did have some deployments under my belt. And just like you, right, you come back and you know something is not right, so you start talking to people, and thankfully the resources were there, and I was able to get some help, but didn't really know the journey that I was going to get into for my disability. But as we get into it, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the disclaimer real quick, and then we'll go into what VACI actually is. Okay. So disclaimer, we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veteran Affairs. We are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, an IMO, for a wide range of disability conditions. Now, during this, if anything comes up as far as a question, or if you have any concerns about what we're talking about or need more explanation, you can always sign up for that free discovery call. Talk to somebody, see if this is the right fit for you. It's not the right fit for everybody. We understand that, but if it does fit your needs, we're more than happy to help. And then I'll go into the next couple of little points if you want to then cover the live classes, Ian.
Sure.
So what is SEAM? I've learned that from the beginning of my time here. It's the basis of what we are. We have a strategy. We have the education. And then if you need that medical evidence, we have the ability to refer over to our preferred provider networks, or if you have a doctor yourself that's able to give you the evidence. What you get with the elite service here is one-on-one coaching. So like I said, we get together with the strategy on that first call, see all your documentation, make sure everything's good to go, and we build a strategy. After that, and you get all your evidence and your education, the next step is submitting the claim, right? Most people are like, well, how do you do that? Do I have somebody do it for me? It's really simple. It's probably the easiest part of the whole process to do online. And then the last part of the one-on-one coaching is that C&P prep. I get together with my vets before each individual C&P to make sure if they have any questions, concerns, they're ready to go for the CMP exam. Okay. And with that, I'll hand it off to you to talk about some of the live classes that we have as well.
Yeah, this kind of goes hand in hand with what Eddie was just talking about too. Live classes are 3 times a day: coffee with the coaches, mental health exam prep, and medical exam preparation. Coffee with coaches is every day, Monday through Friday, unless we have your get your stuff done day or a holiday. Mental health exam preps are every Monday and Thursday, Monday at 7 p.m. Central and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central. And medical exam prep is on Monday and Tuesday, both Monday at 12 p.m. Central and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. So check out those classes. Get with your coach. And if you're not with a coach, of course, just, you have that free sign up, talk to the discovery call, or just go on vaclaimsinsider.com and sign up. If you're ready to go and you know what you want and you've talked to somebody and you've got that referral, just sign up. It's really just that easy to get signed up for free for today. And like we said, want to learn more, schedule that free discovery call with one of our team members and get yourself going. And that's vaclaims.help. If you need help, reach out to the organization. Again, vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to partner up with you on your VA claim journey. So a little about a topic. Before you file a VA claim, it's important for veterans to understand the evidentiary elements you need to prove to the VA before getting any claim or appeal approved. So what's the bottom line? So the Caluza Triangle, and I'm going to pair off to Eddie to talk about the actual pieces to the Caluza Triangle. The Caluza Triangle has 3 elements necessary for your VA claims process to be successful. These 3 elements are known as the Hickson's elements. Keep in mind that the disability conditions must be medically documented in your records. In other words, if you've never heard this before, Brian says this each and every time on any of his calls and some of his very early calls: get your butt to the doctor and get diagnosed. You need a diagnosis in order to be medically and service connected for a disability. And I'm going to kick it over to Eddie to kind of talk about these 3 elements that we're talking about for the Caluza Triangle.
Yeah, appreciate that, Ian. Yeah, so number 1, of course, is the diagnosis, a current diagnosis of the condition. Because if there's no medical diagnosis, there's no service connection, right? So number 2 is the evidence, in-service event, injury, disease, or aggravation. Okay, so that's number 2. And then the third one is the nexus, which is that link between the number 1 diagnosis and number 2 medical evidence via competent medical evidence. Now, when we talk about these, if one is missing, more than likely it's not going to be a successful claim, because the VA is going to want to know that you have a current diagnosis of what you're applying for, that evidence to back it up from a doctor, and then that connection to your service with the nexus. So that's kind of the broad picture of what the Caluza Triangle 3-part necessary elements are. And then if you want to go through and explain a little bit more about the Caluza Triangle, do you have any other things to add for that, Ian?
No, you hit the nail on the head. In most medical diagnoses, need to be within that first year. I don't know if you had said that before, but definitely within that first year, and recent diagnosis within 12 months. So what is the Caluza Triangle? Okay, the Caluza Triangle came from the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veteran Claims, a court case called Caluza versus Brown in April 12th of 1995. Dash 7 vet an app of 508 in 1995. So that's just the application and where it was according to. So, and here's the Caluza Triangle explaining using 3 questions. Does the veteran have a medical diagnosis for a disability condition in a medical record? Does the veteran have evidence of an in-service event, injury, disease, or illness, or aggravation? And does the veteran establish nexus link between number 1 and number 2 via the component medical evidence? And that's a key point of this too. Most vets across the board are missing that link to service. The literal meaning of nexus is link or connection between the medical evidence and the diagnosis. So the diagnosis and the event.
Yeah.
So the in-service event, what caused it, and then the diagnosis from that doctor, medical professional, because it can be both. If the answer of these three questions is yes, a veteran and VA disability conditions shall be service connected. Here's a little pro tip. The Caluza Triangle and the Hickson's elements are limited to direct service connection only. They do not apply to secondary service connection or presumptive conditions. So secondary, you give an example. Say you've got tinnitus service connected at 10%, because that's the max you can get. And then you later on down the road, you start noticing you're having migraine headaches. Well, that migraine headache would be a secondary condition to the already service-connected disability condition of the tinnitus. A presumptive condition is a little bit different. Now the VA is presuming the nexus. They're presuming that the VA or that the veteran has this based off of case studies and stuff that they've done. And you may have seen something about the PACT Act recently, and it was established in August of 2022. A lot of veterans are being affected by this because there was literally over 1 million claims filed under the PACT Act for Agent Orange, for burn pits, for lewisite, for radiation exposure, for asbestos exposure, just to name a few. Okay, so presumptive conditions, if you get a diagnosis, you presume the VA is presumed that you will have a nexus, and that nexus is presumed, but you need that diagnosis. You can't file. I'm going to say something too that we hear a lot. Exposure in itself is not a claimable condition. Okay, so you can't file for Agent Orange. You can't file for burn pit exposure. You have to file for a condition under whatever that presumptive condition is for that exposure. So Agent Orange could be peripheral neuropathy or a laundry list of the different cancers that are out there that's under Agent Orange. But check out our blog. We have a great blog for the PACT Act, for Agent Orange, for burn pits, and a lot of other things too. So check those things out too. And then we're going to talk about how to get 100% disability from the VA. I'll let Eddie take some of this, so I'm not taking the thunder. So go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, no worries, man. I just wanted to add to what you were saying. The not getting service connected for the actual exposure. It's the residuals, right, of what that exposure did, and if it's on that list. So jumping into how to get to 100%. So there's 3 ways to get that rating. The first is, of course, if your combined total is equal or greater than 95%, which then rounds up to the 100. The VA will round that up, and then there is a calculator on our site that you can actually use to give you a good idea of what you're currently at. And you can play around with it, depending on what your strategy is and what you believe you deserve. You can kind of gauge where you should be at after a claim. The second is 1 or more individual ratings that are rated 100. So your combined rating is automatically 100 if you get that 100. Okay. If you qualify for 100% extra scheduler rating, it's also known as TDIU or individual unemployability. Those are all the different types of 100%. And of course, everybody's situation is a little different. So, some vets may qualify for one and not the other, or vice versa, right? So it all depends on the situation of that veteran and where they're at as far as that goes. And then I'll go into this next one if you want to go into the 3 paths afterwards. So to get 100%, right, you'll need to submit medical evidence that shows the most severe symptoms in the rating schedule, to include negative impacts on your work, life, and social functioning. I wanted to repeat that, to include negative impacts to your work, life, and social functioning. That's very important for any type of claim that you put in for, to have them understand how that affects you. Okay. And then Ian, you want to go through the 3 paths?
Yep. And just to touch on the rating schedule again, too, what they're really talking about, and you may have seen this or heard us say something about social and occupational impairments. This is what Eddie's really talking about. How does it affect your life, in your social life, both family and friends? social life in society, and how does it affect you occupationally at your workplace. And workplace is more under what the VA is looking for is if you have any loss of productivity, loss of time, or loss of wages are the three criteria that they're really looking for under the occupational impairment. Just want to touch on that a little bit. So 3 paths to get to 100% VA rating. Path number 1, again, combined VA rating of 95 or higher. Your combined VA disability rating is equal or greater than 95%. The VA will round it up to the 100%. So there's no such thing as 95, 96, or any of those things. It is in the raw score. So when you do the VA math, you're going to see some raw scores. You may have some points in there where we're not going to get into too much into the those factors, but you can have those as well. So we round up into the 100%. You generally need 2 or 3 disability conditions rated at 50% or higher in the VA's fuzzy math calculation. We do call it fuzzy math or wonky math. That's my favorite word. The best way to secure this 100% VA disability is to file for increases on disabilities that are already service connected. If and only if your symptoms have worsened and you think you deserve an increase by law. Okay, so again, we do this in the most amount of integrity. You want to make sure that you have these symptoms, that these symptoms are worsening. And typically, most often, whenever we have a veteran client come to us, their symptoms have gotten worse. They're grossly underrated at 0, 10, 30, and even 50% can be grossly underrated depending on where you sit. The national average for most vets is 70%. So just keep those things in mind. If you're underrated, if you're underdeserved, I'm going to bring it up again. Get in on a call. Get that free call with that discovery call with that veteran ambassador. Or like I said, if you're just ready to go and you want to get this going, go ahead and go ahead and sign up for free on the VA Claims Insider website. Number 2, single disability is rated at 100%. If a single VA disability is rated at 100%, your combined VA rating will be automatically 100%. For example, your PTSD is 100% rating, your combined VA rating is still 100%. Math's still the same. 100% is 100%. Okay. Eddie brought this up. Temporary disability on individual unemployability and it's the path number 3. If you qualify for 100% extra scheduler VA rating, which is also known as TDIU, or individual unemployability, read the requirements for VA individual employability on the va.gov website. You have to be deemed unemployable, not employed, but unemployable. So a lot of times veterans get that confused. I've been unemployed for such a long time, but where are you if that is unemployable? And the VA has to deem that. Here's the kicker to this too. I'm going to bring up one more thing for TDIU, not to bring up too many things about it, but I'm going to bring up this one thing. You can make only under at the national poverty rate. Okay. So they're going to check your taxes. They're going to check all the things that's taxable income at all counts. So make sure you know the criteria of what this means. Okay. So if you still want to be able to work and make money or start a business, make sure you are really sure you're going to want to go after this particular path. Typically, most often, our vets are going after that 100% combined or the 100% single disability, depending on where they sit as far as their individual individual disabilities. And wow, that went by pretty quick. We do have a lot of time for Q&A. I'm super happy for that. We wanted to make this light for the new year. We didn't want to give you anything real heavy, but thanks for joining us. And we're going to kick this off with some questions. And see if there's a few in there. Eddie, I see one there for Phyllis Ruff. What about arthritis due to injuries? I'm at 90% working on a secondary. Phyllis, can you be more specific on your secondary without getting in too deep in the woods?
And I can kind of talk about the arthritis aspect. If you have arthritis and it's a residual or caused by something, an injury or something like that during your service, and it's past the normal progression, that's when that can be claimed as a disability. So there's a lot of different scenarios for arthritis. Could be also secondary. But definitely, if you have more specific questions, Phyllis, get on that discovery call or sign up and get with one of the coaches, and we can kind of talk you through where you're at the 90%, because a lot of people don't know what their raw score is. They could be, 94% and just needed one extra claim to get them over. So yeah, if you can get some time and get that free discovery call, that would be beneficial. And then I did see, I'll go all the way to the top. I saw
Wayne Kern is the first one there, Eddie.
Gotcha. How can I connect rhinitis without AO connection? Currently 92. That's kind of a very specific question and not a lot of info, so I can't give you a direct answer for that. But the rhinitis aspect, which is the nose stuffiness or unable to breathe, throughout your nostrils very well, can be service connected in a lot of different ways. It can be a presumptive if you served in certain areas of operation, which, as we talked about before, presumptives are your nexus. Or it could be secondary to something else, or it could be direct if you had that issue during service and still have that going on to the present date with the current diagnosis. So
just
did you have any?
A little bit?
Yeah,
just touch on a little bit too. AO connection and anything that's the area of operation, like what Eddie was talking about. This is whether you step foot for 1 minute, 1 second, doesn't matter the amount of time. They're looking at whether you were aboard a ship on the ocean that was off the coast of the Persian Gulf, in the air, on an aircraft, or on boots on ground as well. So Eddie and I were both boots on ground. He was also airborne when this stuff was going on with us. So we can attest, and both of us suffer from rhinitis and sinusitis too. So we can definitely attest of, and really look at your DD-214 if you don't know for sure. If it's not on there, it's going to be a tougher road, but maybe you've got orders or an award that might have signified that connection to Wayne. So hopefully that helps, but without any extra additional information. But if you do need additional help, if you're already with a coach, get with them. If not, definitely sign up or get with one of our veteran ambassadors with a free discovery call. I can't say that enough. Those guys and gals over there do a great job of setting us up for success, and getting you guys on board and getting you guys the correct information, getting that stuff rolling too. Jamaica Kid, that's a great question. And P&T rating specifically, it says permanent and total. As long as you don't have, if you don't have any kind of things that you try to file for. So P&T means permanent and total. Okay. So the VA can or will not reevaluate you for those conditions once you're permanent and total. If you go out and file for a claim, this is the idea of don't poke the bear. Please don't. It's not advisable, and you're not going to get that when they're talking about that over 5 years reduced. You're talking about a future routine exam. You're not going to have one of those at permanent and total. This is when you're 100% scheduler or extra scheduler. You can get a future routine exam in that sense. So hopefully that helps you and your friend that you're talking about.
And I did
go ahead.
Yeah, I did want to also add, there is always the possibility of getting re-examined or reduced in any circumstance. It just depends on the actual circumstance, right? But my veterans, don't think about that when you're going for your claims, because you're going for your claims because it's gotten worse or it is bad, right? So that's all you have to prove to them. But yeah, good on that. And then I wanted to talk about Nellie McRae. She has a problem, or she or he, apologies, problem connection to service for Vietnam era. And then the next comment was Nexus letter didn't work. That is true. Sometimes there's no guarantees, right? And we like to tell people that because there really isn't a guarantee. Now, there is a guarantee you're going to get solid medical evidence, but when you're dealing with the VA, sometimes it has to be reevaluated, right? And the trick is to not give up. If you have that medical evidence, there's always a route, especially if you talk to your coach afterwards. There's going to be a good plan of attack, having a decision letter to look at, those kind of things to give us a little bit more of an idea of why they decided what they did and what the next steps are. So, did you see any others?
There's several, actually. How long should I claim to finalize? This is from P space TE. Take to finalize. It's been 7 months. Lance Corporal. Okay, that's just that was your rank, Peter. So Peter Baum, how long should it take a claim to be finalized? It's been 7 months. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about the PACT Act. Okay, right now, so let me backtrack. Before the PACT Act, the VA had a approximation of what the average would be for time frame, and it was usually between 120 125 days on the average. Okay, currently, right now with the VA, it's about 150 155 days is their goal, not an average. It's their goal, what they're trying to do, and that's across the board for HLRs, supplementals, new claims, and increases. Okay, so my best advice is to be patient. Do your best to be patient. If you're with a coach, check early and often, but just don't check it so often that it's going to drive you crazy. You know, pick a day. Okay, pick a day every 2 weeks or so, because it's gonna be a bit. But keep an eye on your bank account too, because if you do get an increase, they're going to pop it in your account before you know it. You got that increase. So best of luck to you, Paul or Peter. I hope you have a great outcome from this, but there's always recourses if you don't. We talk about, not throwing that. Don't do what I did and throw my all my decision letters away because I got so ticked off. I was like, nah, it failed me again. I can't do this again. I didn't want to do it over and over again. So just don't give up. Best of luck to you, Peter. George Cassidy has one there for you.
Yeah. You see that? Yeah. So I'm a soft 90%, which he put raw 85. So that's the lowest 90 that you can get. Diagnosed with bilateral peripheral neuropathy. The DBA conceded due to area of operation exposure, but denied service due to not early onset any recourse. So yes, there's always a recourse. If you're not a member, again, get on that discovery call or sign up, because getting with a coach and getting into detail about your situation would be the best route to go. Just as an overview of what you just asked, if you're diagnosed with something and they denied the service connection, it's probably most likely missing a nexus, right? But I don't know for sure on your specific situation. So like I said, if you want to get with somebody, they can dig a little bit deeper into your specific situation and give you a good strategy.
Real quick, Eddie, I think he's talking about Agent Orange exposure, which would
I'm sorry,
for peripheral neuropathy. And the early onset, I think he's talking about the time frame after the exposure. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a year after exposure to be considered as a presumptive, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a couple of specifics. We do have blogs.
There's a really good blog on it.
Yeah, there's absolutely a really good blog. If you go on vaclaimsinsider.com and go up to the search bar, you can search anything you want, and it'll have a blog on that topic, and it'll give you a lot more information specifically on the topic you're looking at. So hopefully that helps you, James.
George, that should help you, and it should show right next to it on the blog, especially if you type in PACT Act or Agent Orange. Right next to peripheral neuropathy, it should show the time frame. And if not, there's a caption about it too, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a blog post right there. Appreciate it.
It is.
Nelly.
I got one from Letitia. Yeah,
I see that there too.
I got service connection for allergic rhinitis with a 0 compensation. So that's pretty common. But it's a good thing, right? Because you got the hardest part out of the way. You got service connected, even though it's at a 0. Now, in the future, if it ever gets worse, you can always go for that increase. Or if you have a coach and you're going through the strategy process, they could see if that could be something that you could possibly have a secondary for. So there's lots of options. Definitely.
Lost you there for
Sorry
a
about
second,
that.
Eddie. Go ahead and
Yeah,
repeat
yeah.
your
Sorry
trailer.
about that. Yeah, no, sorry about that. So the allergic rhinitis being service connected at 0 is not a bad thing. It can always be increased if it gets worse, and then because you have it service connected, that can also be something that can be a jump off point for another secondary. So I would say to see what you have available and what you can get an increase on or whatever the case is. I would definitely get on a call and see if this is the right fit for you.
Absolutely. James, when you claim a secondary claim and it becomes approved, are you able to input an additional secondary claim from that same one? So be careful on how many claims you file. If you're going to file secondary claims with each other. Don't file them secondary claim and another secondary claim 2 weeks later. What will typically happen if you do that, your fully developed claim will be there, but you file another claim, and now you've got another claim that could possibly take some time. And typically what the VA will do is they're going to defer your other one and allow the other one to catch up, so to speak. Okay. It's not exactly what happens, but they'll typically will defer the other claim, especially if it's gotten close enough to the CMP process. So just be careful on when you file your claims and to make sure if you are with a coach, they usually have a good game plan with you, and we're not going to file a bunch of stuff willy-nilly. We're going to make sure your claims are fully developed. You've got a nexus, you've got your recent diagnosis, and there is an identifiable in-service event to show that this stuff is service connected. You and I know that those connections, those disabilities are probably service connected. We just have to prove it to the VA, give enough evidentiary record to the VA to help them understand. And then your second question. Go ahead, Eddie, if you had something else to add.
Oh, yeah. No, I just wanted to also say that, we go through this process and coach you, but we don't actually submit anything for you. So all of this is going to be on the veteran, right, to do the work. So we're here to be on the sidelines and help you and give you the resources and education. But yeah, just be aware that this is going to be a process that we're going to be involved in together, but it's going to be a lot of work on the veteran as well to get that in. Okay.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
go ahead.
That's definitely a good point too. We can't file the claims for you. It's not lawful for us to do that, but we'll be alongside with you on that phone call or Zoom call, whichever you prefer, to be able to get those claims filed. But you are going to be doing it on your own and be clicking the buttons to do it on your own, because we can't do that. Like Eddie said in the very, very beginning, we are not accredited agents. Okay, so we can't do that stuff. And also would like to speak about how to write out a TDIU claim. So get with your coach about that. That's very specific. There's a very specific process to go through to get a TDIU claim. There's a lot of stuff that has to be happening first. Definitely advise checking out the blogs that we do have about TDIU, all the criteria that you need to meet in order to file for a TDIU claim, but it's not impossible. Just be very confident and sure that's the route you want to go, and not to the fully 100% permanent and total. And this next one, I'll take this one too real quick. Got married after I was out. Can I add them to the claim? And does that open me up for reassessment? Well, the married part is anything after 30%. So at 30% above, you can add your dependents, and before that, they don't really count. But at 30%, your dependents start counting. So make sure you get them on there as soon as you can. Typically, they're going to back pay you up to a year and no more than that. I have seen some vets get back paid for quite a bit, but it's a case by case basis. But definitely, get with a coach also, again, or get on a discovery call if you're not already a client. But if you are a client, get with your coach. But it's a pretty simple thing. Go on there, add your dependents. It's add remove dependents on va.gov, and it'll pretty much take you through it. It's really it's a little bit of a lengthy process. It could take some time for it to get added. I think when I added my kids, when I first got my va.gov, this was many years ago though. This process has got a lot quicker since 2015, but and quicker when Eddie got out too. But I remember this process used to take years, and I'm not talking about a year. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 years, depending on what your claim was. But yeah, definitely go to va.gov, check it out. It's add or remove dependents. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can type it into that little search box, and it should get you what you're looking for. So I hope that helps out, Pam.
Yeah, and like you said, right, it's a lot quicker, but it still takes a little bit of time. So just be aware of that when they do add it. Jim Stengel says, I've been rated 92% P&T and being paid at 100 for TDIU. Now on the second remand of my appeal, can the VA take back what they have already approved? My age is 72 and still have not had comp exams for the rest of my appeals filed in 2014. Okay, so there's a lot there, but one important point, the VA, yes, can definitely take away or lower ratings depending on the situation, right? Especially in the P&T status. If you file for another claim, it opens everything up for them to re-examine you, okay? So in short, yes, but there are also categories such as age. It's not a big factor, but they do factor that in if they're going to reduce, or is this going to get any better? That's what they're going to look at. Is this disability going to get better, stay the same, or get worse? So hopefully that answered your question, Jim. And like I said, if you have any other questions specifically on that, check out the blog or sign up for that call. Let's see
Phyllis,
here. I think.
What about? Or you?
Yeah, we did that
first one. Yep.
Evansib, can you be employed and get 100%? Yes. Mm-hmm. When you do scheduler 100%, that restriction is not there. Now TDIU is a little different, just like Ian talked about before. They do have different criteria, different restrictions. And again, if you do qualify for the TDIU, or if you don't know if you qualify for it, check out the blog. See if that's something that is beneficial for you. And if you want to talk to somebody and ask them specifically about your case, get on that free call, and we can see if we can answer some of those questions. Let's see here. Can you get reduced after 55 years old? Question from Jay. Again, you can. Yes, the short answer is you can always get reduced. However, it takes a lot of evidence and evidence that you're getting better for that to happen. So they don't just go in there and reduce people, right? They have to have certain criteria that qualifies you for that, right? So, and yes, age is one of those criteria, but it's not the only one. Do you got absolutely one, Ian?
No, I don't see any more in here. I'm kind of scouring around, but you guys got any questions?
Oh, here we go. I got one from Bob Boff. When is the VA going to change the rating for sleep apnea? Great question. We don't know yet, but there is talk of the proposition or the proposed change coming about soon. And what you're talking about is we have a blog on that aspect as well. Excuse me, specifically on our blog. So check that out, because it has a lot of explanations, that more than I can give on here, of what the criteria is going to be if they do change it. Okay.
Not just our website, guys and gals. Check out the YouTube channel too if you haven't subscribed to it. Brian did a great video on this specific topic, because his number one thing that he's concerned with is the benefit and the welfare of our veterans, disability benefits, and what could impact you guys the most. So he stays on top of it. He gives us the latest and greatest whenever he receives it, and then he does a blog about it most of the time. But remember, this is a proposal. Okay, proposals have been turned down multiple times. I believe this is at least the second time sleep apnea has popped up for a proposal. So this could just get turned down and completely removed from the idea of actually going after it. So the other one that they're proposing is the tinnitus one, and that's a negative as well. The positive one is the mental health one. Again, he talks about that one too. I remember the whole specifics, but it's supposed to benefit veterans in the respect of that.
But they make it less of a hassle to get to the higher ratings with the new proposal. But yeah, hopefully that answered that question. And then I wanted to address Miguel Angel Rodriguez. Is one-on-one coaching a free service? So this is free, and there's no charge unless you win a claim. And that will be covered in the agreement that you sign when you sign up. But the gist of it is, if you win a claim, we take the difference of what you were at to what you are now as far as the percentages, and we take that difference times 6. Okay. So that's kind of a short answer to that.
There's a few here now after that.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah.
Paul has a great question. Will any changes affect your current rating? Paul, if you're PNT, which I know you're PNT, none of these changes are going to affect our ratings. Like Eddie and I, we're both PNT as well. So once you're PNT, these changes don't affect. We grandfather into the pre-existing laws that were in effect prior to these possible changes. Again, proposed, not law.
Yeah, I was going to say, however, it is still proposed. And by the way, even if you're a PNT, if let's say you go for sleep apnea increase, that's going to open you up to the new regulations if it does get changed. So just FYI, if you're already service connected for something and there's a change, that can be the effect of it. So definitely get with a coach or get on that call to get a little bit more info on that as well. Because that could be a pretty significant topic.
Yeah. Michael Eden's got a good question too. What's the normal rating for a total knee replacement? It's a 2-part question. Okay, so it depends, and typically what the VA will do, and you'll have to get with your coach about it too. But you'll go after what's called convalescence. Convalescence will give you a temporary 100%. For up to an amount of time that the VA deems for that particular limb or appendage to get recovered from. Right now, I believe it's between a month and 3 months. It could be as much as 6 months, but that's the max. And then after that, then it'll go back to the residuals of whatever that affected and how much it affects you based off of the current rating for that particular limb. And for your knee, it could be between 10 and 30 or whatever that happens to be, or as high as as much as I've seen 60 before. But it will depend on the severity of the symptoms and how it affects you after all your recovery. So, Eddie, you got anything else to add to that?
No, that was good. That was from Michael, right?
Alfred's got a really good question too. That's a pretty common one about SMC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am 100% PNT. Will filing for SMC open me up for a reevaluation? It can. So it depends on how soon, how new your ratings are, one, and then are they stagnant or do you have a future exam scheduled? So there's lots of different criteria that you may run into when you do an SMC and you're already 100% PNT. However, if you're safe and you just got your rating, pretty recently, you should be safe with going with this SMC claim. But definitely, if you're a member, get with your coach. If not, talk to us a little bit more on the call, see if it's something that we can help you out with. Rag and Bullwinkle. Sorry about that. You never said if you can help with TDIU. So we do have resources for TDIU. It depends on the situation. That's kind of a special case, but we can definitely answer any questions and possibly assist. It just depends on the situation. Again, if you have any questions specifically, you can get on that free call and ask about that. And as far as the vocational recommendations, the VA has a lot of vocational rehab information if you search it on their site.
For sure. Richard Jensen, if you have a surgery to repair or replace an injured joint, the VA reduce your compensation if it has been rated for that joint. Kind of goes back to that knee replacement thing. It's kind of the same thing. Based off of if you had surgery and they repair it, you'll be put on convalescence, but you do have to file for convalescence. So if you're with a coach, definitely talk about that, but you will have to file a separate claim for convalescence. Typically, whoever the surgeon is, they typically give you the form to file for convalescence, so that's already in play once you're done with surgery. And that's the compensation after the fact would be based after the residuals after the joint is repaired. So could it be reduced? Sure. Does it always get reduced? No, but it could get reduced. So just keep those things in mind. It depends on how well it's gotten been, or how well it was repaired, and what the injury feels like. How bad does it feel? How long does it last? How many times does it happen? Okay. Severity of symptoms. We talk about that in our new client orientation class the most, because it's really important. It's kind of the fourth piece of the Caluza Triangle. We call it the VACI's golden circle. That's the fourth element. This is the severity of symptoms. So definitely talk about that with your coach too, but the VA examiner or whoever the person happens to be replacing that joint should give you, again, if they don't, you'll need to file for convalescence for that.
Yeah. And I wanted to address two more questions, and then we can start recapping because we're getting at the top of the hour here.
Absolutely.
So Rag and Bullwinkle, also, what if you are already a member but have no coach? So I'm assuming you're talking about the not the elite service, but the mastermind. Yeah, mastery. Get on a call with somebody if you want a coach. There's a way to talk to somebody and possibly get you something like that. Okay. And then the last question, Mike. Mike Dolores, can you explain SMC claim? Of course. So, and apologies, I know there's a lot of acronyms that we throw out there, but SMC is a special monthly compensation claim. These claims will, for the most part, not have any effect on your percentage, but they are extra compensation. So a common one is, for instance, erectile dysfunction for men, the secondary to mental health, right? So that's an SMC claim. That's common. Or if you're missing a limb, missing an organ, that kind of thing. There's a lot of them. However, if you go into the blog, type in SMC, it'll give you a whole long list of it, and you can read up on it. Okay. And then Ian, I'll start with kind of going over and recapping, what we do. And again, apologies if we didn't get to your answers or to your questions. But if you have any more questions, get on that free call, see if this is for you, or go ahead and join if this is the way you want to go, and we'll make sure to put those links up there. Okay. So what you get with VACI, you get the SEAM method. We get a strategy together. We get the education, and then any medical evidence that may be missing. On the one-on-one coaching, you're going to get that strategy session with the coach, so you can go over everything and see what you may qualify for and start making that plan. Then once everything is done and you have the strategy, education, and medical evidence, then you submit the claim. right? The easiest part of it. You just go in there and fill out the information, right? And then lastly is C&P prep. We get with you. We make sure that you're ready to go for that exam. We make sure that any questions are answered and you're comfortable going into that exam. Okay. And then, Ian, you want to close this out here?
Yep. So live classes via Zoom, like I said before, 3 times a day. Coffee with coaches, mental health Mondays with C&P prep and elite. Well, we don't have elite member Q&A. Need to take that off of there. But mental health prep is both Monday at 7 p.m. Central and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central. Medical prep is on Monday at 12 p.m. Central and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, we have new client orientation on Tuesday and Thursday still, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Brian's book, You Deserve It, second edition, is now available. Order yours on Amazon today. You can also get a download free copy of a book by going to youdeserveitfree.com. Again, you want to learn more, to schedule a free discovery call and talk to one of our team members by going to vaclaims.help. So if you need help, reach out to our organization at vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to partner with you on your VA claim journey. Guys and gals, thank you so much for joining us on our first Facebook Live for the new year. Happy New Year. Happy Wednesday afternoon, and hope everyone has a great day. Coach Eddie, it's always a pleasure to do lives with you. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Ian. Yeah, man. It was a good one. And like Ian said, if you guys have any questions, please get on that free call. See if this is for you. And if it is, we'd love to help you and be a part of that success rate that we have. So hopefully we'll see everybody in the future, and hopefully everybody has a great day. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. We didn't get the answer to your questions. We'll, hopefully we can get it to the next time, the next live. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.